I just want to scream at you. Hello, hello. I'm your host, Catherin Cooper. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to control our emotions. Like, it sounds like something that's, but honey, when I tell you it's so important to learn how to control your emotions and the happiness that it brings you in life. All right, so like I say, this is my experience with things. And so let's get into it. All right. So, again, like I always do, right? I have my handy dandy notebook. Okay. When I tell you, like, the goal for me is to get the videos done, to get them out, because there's so much I want to say, so much I want to do. But when it comes to organizing this thing, sometimes it's so crazy. Like, this is like total chicken scratch. Okay. But this is my flow. This is how I do it. Okay. Number one, I want you to know why it's important. It's important to control your emotions because if you think about it, there are so many things when you make decisions out of emotion, you screw yourself up every time. At least I do. I screw myself up every single time I make decisions out of emotion. And this is something that I have had to really be aware of. I really had to be aware of it and really learn how to work on it. And this has been years in the making. I feel that when you are able to really be aware and get a handle on your emotions, your quality of life improves big time. That's why it's important. It's important because you just want, who doesn't want to be happy? Isn't that what we all say? We all want to be happy, all, as much as we possibly can. And we deserve to. You deserve to be happy as many hours in the day as you possibly can. But hopefully when I finish with this video, you will understand that the power to be happy is in your hands. No one else's. It is solely up to you. And it starts with there's so many things that, goes into it, but it starts with controlling your emotions. So, I'm going to give y'all a little story about me and a situation that happened that really, this was like the real, like, wow, like I really need to be aware of my emotions. So my son he was doing some things. He was, kind of hanging out late with, a group of kids that I really wasn't feeling and all of that. And I asked him to do something and he didn't do it. And I was so frustrated with him. I was so frustrated with him. And he just, I was so angry with him. And I was just like, you know, I, I didn't understand. I felt like, why are you like wanting to like waste your life doing this? And I was so angry with him, and I just started yelling at him and I just started yelling all kinds of stuff to him. And, in my mind, I was just like, what I really should have said was, I love you and I just really don't want anything bad to happen to you. I want you to be okay. I don't, I want you to listen to me. But instead of that, I'm just yelling all kinds of stuff like, you're gonna, your life is gonna be like this and like this, which, let's be honest, how do I know what his life is gonna be like, right? How do I know what his life is gonna be like? His life, he's going to have an amazing, beautiful life. However, for me to say your life is going to be like this, like, why put that negativity onto him? Why put that onto his life? But I said it because I was upset and I just wanted him to listen to me and I wanted to protect him and I wanted him to be okay. But I didn't say that because I'm upset and I'm pissed off because he's coming in the house late. He doesn't want to listen to me. And I'm just like, oh, just. And I realized at that moment, especially when I was able to hear later on that some things that I said to him really bothered him big time, really, really bothered him. And it's crazy because I kind of had forgotten about them, but it bothered him. And when I found out it bothered him, it just ripped it, like it just like ripped at my soul that I could be that upset and say that to him and put that on him, and he's carrying that with him when I didn't even mean that. And so And so that was like an eye opener to me. Now, I will say since then, I have approached him, I have apologized to him, and I continue to calm myself down and tell him how much I love him, and tell him exactly how I feel when it comes to things. And I do not act out of emotion when it comes to him anymore. But that was, I can't I can't go back and take that back, even though I'm doing everything in my power to make up for it. But I can't go and take that back. I can't take that moment back. So that's, one of my, little stories to let you guys see that I truly, truly know what I'm talking about here in terms of my experience with emotions. And so going forward, I'm going to be giving you guys tips on what I do in order to control them and how it's impacted my life since then. You definitely need to sit down and figure out like what kind of what kind of we always have emotions, right? But you need to sit down and figure out what do you want to be in? What space do you want to be in? How do you want your emotions to be? How are you your best person? What type of emotion do you need to have the majority of the time in order to be your best self? For me, I have to be, I don't have to be happy all the time to be my best self, but I like to be in a positive emotion, the majority of the time. So, yes, examples of letting your emotions control things is like being depressed, and not moving and just allowing, like sitting there and just sitting in those emotions, and we'll talk another day about how other people, something we cannot even control. We cannot control other people and how other people are with us. We will never be able to control that. However, that is like the biggest thing that hinders us is other people. That is the number one thing that hinders us. If we were on this earth by ourselves, we had to walk this earth by ourselves, do you think we would care? We wouldn't care about anything. We would be lonely. However, we would not, that would be the least of our worries, in terms of like what other people think and how other people act towards us. Let me say it if you haven't heard it before. We cannot control other people. So if you cannot control other people, why are they controlling your emotions? That's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, but yes, sitting down, being depressed, being sad and all that because someone else did something to you, you know, that emotion is like freaking stalling your life, draining you. And here's the thing, we all got the same 24 hours in the day. Do you spend yours in the bed depressed? Okay. This is what I do when it comes to controlling my emotions. Number one, I am aware. And you hear people say that all the time, like, be aware, be aware, be aware. No, seriously, be aware. Be aware. That's not something I can, for me, this is how I am. It's like a feeling that goes through me. I feel it all the time. It's a feel. Am I a pro at this? Absolutely not. Because I literally just did something this weekend and wasn't aware of it, and I acted out of emotion, and then I felt like crap afterwards, and I was just like, oh, that that's how you become aware. When you do things and then you act out of it, and then you sit back and you say, oh, if you can just get out of your ego for a little bit and just admit, I feel crazy. I feel embarrassed. I shouldn't have done that. If you can just get out of your ego for a minute and just say that to yourself, now you become aware. And you have just taken a huge leap at taking care of you. So that's how I become aware. I just pay attention to things that I've done and I sit back and I think, is this the kind of person that I want to be? Okay, so I know that I get in my head and I let this type of emotion get to me. So what I'm going to do is be more aware of that. And it's just situations, when a significant other pisses you off and you say something, and then you go back and you say, oh, that was so not what I wanted to do. And you just feel like, you just feel like crap, then what you do is, because we're not all perfect, we will not be. But that's what this life is about. This life is about growing and learning, and discovering yourself. So what you do is you just sit down and you say, okay, number one, You need to have the guts to go to that person and apologize. Number two, you have to be able to let it go after you apologize. And you have to be able to say, okay, this is not the person I want to be. So when something like that comes up again, you know what I'm going to do? For me, is I take a huge deep breath, or I'll like stare directly at that person, because and it's not me being funny or anything like that. It's literally my brain is trying to process what's going on, and I allow my brain to process versus me just I just want to win this conversation. My brain is like, okay, we're not in this conversation to win. I'm not here to win an argument. I'm not here to win an argument. I'm here to process my thoughts so that I can make sure what comes out of my mouth is true to me. And if it cannot come out of my mouth right then and there in the middle of some sort of argument, then I'm like, okay, I heard you. Now give me a minute. Give me a minute. And like, give me a minute. When it comes to like, if I'm, like if someone has pissed me off, like my son or something like that, he's done something, and I'm worried about him and I'm angry, I am like, okay, let me calm down. What's important right now? What's important right now is he's here, he's safe, he's in the house. Okay, let's take a breather. Let's take a breather. Let's walk away, and then we're going to come back when we chilled out. That's how I do things. Like for me, it's take a deep breath and calm down and just think like, are the words that are about to come out of my mouth going to represent me and the person that I want to see myself 20 years from now? It's helped me to stay focused on me and the things I can control. And so because of that, I focus more on my business. I focus more on the things that I want to do. I focus more on things that make me feel so good inside. And so because of that, I just feel so amazing when it comes to my quality of life now. It's helped me so much to actually see that I am the most important thing in my life, because this is my life. You are the most important thing in your life because that's your life. I'm sorry, but no one else is that important than you, because this is your life. When you're gone, life goes on for everyone else. You are the most important person in this life experience for right now. And so you come first. You owe it to yourself to only put things in your space that benefit and work for you. You are allowed to X out everything else that does not work for that. And it may hurt deeply, really, really deeply, but you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to not just settle for things that bring up emotions and make you act out of those emotions that truly don't feel good to you. You owe it to yourself to remove those things. You owe it to yourself to learn to control yourself around those things. So I hope that I have helped someone today. If you want a beautiful list of tips that will, things that you can do, exercises that you can do to help you control your emotions, and something you can like stick it on a mirror, stick it on, your, have it right there when you take your vitamins and you get up in the morning, put it on your makeup mirror, put it, on your refrigerator. If you want a pretty beautiful PDF on, on things that you can do to control your emotions and help you become more aware, you can download that for free. The link will be below, and I hope that I have helped someone, and I will see you in the next video.